Do it. We want to see the third.
Final message to the fans and everyone. What you've done in Saudi Arabia here has been fantastic.
Enjoy it.
But it's 1-1, and there'll be a lot of money, I'm sure, when the dust has settled, to go again for a trilogy fight in 2026.
You guys saw what I was in there tonight. Yeah, I thought that, once those bright lights hit and that round went, and I was.
Turki Alalshikh has officially announced the trilogy fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and this news has the boxing world buzzing. Chris Eubank Jr. showed incredible skill in the ring before, and now fans are eager to see if he can finally beat Conor Benn.
Do everything, doing amazing fight, but this is the boxing. There is one winner and there is loser. But next I want...
Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn could make huge money in a trilogy fight. Adam Smith praises both fighters' efforts, noting Chris Eubank Jr.'s skill and determination, while acknowledging Conor Benn fought brilliantly under pressure in the rematch.
There'll be huge money in the trilogy fight, and maybe we just leave it at there. The father's had 2 and they've had 2, and it's 1 each, and maybe that's a nice way to finish it. But yeah, I feel for Chris tonight. I'm really happy for Conor, because I thought he boxed the fight of his life under real pressure, actually, because another loss would have been very difficult for him.
Chris Eubank Jr. is clearly focused and motivated as he talks about his determination to win. He believes in his own boxing skills and remembers the first fight where he performed impressively. Despite the challenges he has faced outside the ring, he is ready to give everything in the trilogy fight. Fans can see that Chris Eubank Jr. is mentally strong and prepared, and this mindset could make all the difference when he faces Conor Benn again in the ring.
I genuinely thought that regardless of the issues that I've been dealing with, I would be able to go in there and win. Use my boxing skills, use what you guys saw in that first fight to beat Conor Benn.
Conor Benn makes it clear that he is done with the rematches. He points out that the stadiums were filled twice, and everything that needed to be done has been accomplished. From his point of view, Chris Eubank Jr. may want more, but Benn wants to move on. He respects the fight and the effort, but his focus is elsewhere. This shows a contrast in mindset, as Chris Eubank Jr. looks for redemption and Benn is content with his achievements.
I can see him having a rematch again, or asking for a rematch, but ultimately, I think we should just let it lie now. Nah, just let it lie. We've done what we had to do. We sold our stadium twice. It done what it said it was going to do on a tin.
The Weight Concept is skeptical about a trilogy fight happening. He explains that Chris Eubank Jr. gave everything in the first fight and has nothing left to give. While Chris is determined and wants another match, the reality of his condition and performance raises doubts. This perspective highlights the challenge Chris Eubank Jr. faces in proving he can come back stronger. Fans will be curious to see if he can overcome these doubts and show the world he still has the power to compete.
As he wants to come back, maybe do the trilogy. I don't think there's any shot in hell they do a trilogy after that fight. There ain't no way you do a trilogy there. That doesn't make any sense. Because what happened in this fight showed me that the first fight was Chris Eubank Jr. left everything in that first fight. He had nothing left to give.
Liam Goff is not convinced that a trilogy fight is the right move. He notes that Chris Eubank Jr. looked awful in the last fight and that a third encounter may not make sense. Despite this, Chris Eubank Jr.'s determination is evident, and fans believe he can still redeem himself. On the other hand, Conor Benn has proven his ability to adapt and perform well, which adds pressure on Chris Eubank Jr. to step up if the trilogy happens.
It's been done now twice. We should never see a trilogy. And honestly, Chris Eubank Jr., I don't know what he does. He looked awful. Absolutely awful in there. As for Conor Benn, listen, if you can get back down to welterweight, get back down there and see what you...
Eddie Hearn believes a trilogy is unnecessary. Conor Benn has emerged as a star in British boxing and has proven himself by filling stadiums. While Eddie acknowledges Conor Benn's talent and excitement, he advises focus and concentration over seeking more fights against Chris Eubank Jr. Despite Hearn's view, Chris Eubank Jr. is eager for a third fight. This clash of perspectives builds anticipation among fans who are waiting to see if Chris Eubank Jr. can push for redemption.
No need for a trilogy, no?
No, we want to move back there. Conor's the new star of British boxing, look, he's filled Tottenham twice and, he needed to be a bit smarter there. You know how exciting he is, but he just needed every round. I was just saying to him, just concentrate, please, just concentrate.
Derek Chisora sums up the situation by saying the fight was great, but he questions the need for another one. His opinion reflects the hesitation of some in the boxing world who feel the rematch settled the score. Chris Eubank Jr., however, has not let go of the idea of a trilogy. Fans are left with contrasting views in the anticipation of whether Chris Eubank Jr. can convince the promoters and the public that a third fight is truly needed.
You know, it was great, but are we gonna see that again? Do you wanna see that again? No. It's done 1-1, that's it, leave it like that.
Chris Eubank Jr. is taking his time and explaining himself clearly, showing focus and thoughtfulness. Carl Froch notices how he sometimes over-explains, which actually highlights his strategy and mental strength. This careful approach proves that Chris Eubank Jr. is serious about a trilogy fight. His words show preparation and determination to prove himself in the ring once again, and fans can sense his commitment to make the third fight happen and settle the score against Conor Benn in a decisive manner.
A bit of something, you know what Chris is like, he takes his time, which isn't a bad thing. He tries to be articulate, and he sort of overspoke the point he was making for a change.
Nigel Benn insists the trilogy is over and emphasizes family legacy and maturity. Despite his rejection, Chris Eubank Jr.'s ambition and determination are clear. He is focused on proving himself and making the trilogy happen, showing fans he is ready to fight again. Chris Eubank Jr.'s drive contrasts with Benn's refusal and proves his mindset is strong, hungry, and ready for action in the ring. The fight's excitement is still alive because of his motivation and the potential of a third showdown against Conor Benn.
I think, oh, it's over with. I don't think, yeah, we beat the Eubanks. It doesn't bother me. I'm a bit more mature than that.
The grandchildren ain't having the sort of trilogy of the legacies.
We don't want that no more, mate. It's over with, done.
Dominic Ingle reflects on Chris Eubank Jr.'s mindset after the rematch. Even if he seemed to lack his usual fire, it is clear that Chris Eubank Jr. wants a trilogy to show who is truly better. His ambition and determination remain strong, and he is motivated to reclaim pride and prove himself in the ring. Fans can see that Chris Eubank Jr. is mentally preparing for another fight and that a third clash against Conor Benn could finally settle the score and demonstrate his skill and heart.
This fight, they didn't know they were going to have a rematch. And Eubanks had to win. Maybe he's got into this fight, I think, well, if he beats me, it's 1-1, whatever. But he just didn't have that fire in his belly tonight. You know, maybe he's just lost the taste for it. But for me, you know, I don't come to many live events.
Dave Allen comments on the fight, admitting Chris Eubank Jr. lost, but showed quality and heart. The analysis underlines that Chris Eubank Jr. is still determined to push for a trilogy, proving he can beat Conor Benn in a decisive match. Even if others doubt, his ambition, experience, and technical skills make him a serious threat. Fans can expect Chris Eubank Jr. to train hard and prepare for a third fight where he can reclaim his pride and show that he is mentally and physically ready to face Conor Benn again in the ring.
I can't take anything away from it. He lost to a faded Eubank, and then he just beat a shot to bits one. That don't mean that he's not 147. He's not 147 champion elect on the back of that.
No, can he win a world title at 147 now though?
Maybe, but the champions aren't. They're not A-level champions. They're like the B-level champions. Barrios, Crocker, they're very good fighters, but they're not great fighters. But I'm still not sure he'll beat him. I don't think Conor Benn's a fantastic boxer. Nigel Benn, 1990, Nigel Benn would have flattened Chris Eubank Jr. in one round tonight.
Eddie Hearn praises the tactical approach and boxing skill in the fight, noting that Chris Eubank Jr. was pushed hard. Despite the loss, Chris Eubank Jr.'s determination for a trilogy is visible. Fans can see his hunger for redemption and his readiness to face Conor Benn again. His mental strength and tactical understanding make him a credible contender for the third fight. A trilogy could finally settle the score and give Chris Eubank Jr. the opportunity to prove that he is a better, smarter, and stronger fighter in this ongoing rivalry.
Schooling, really. He won every round, dropped it, 10 more seconds, the fight's over. Different kind of fight, obviously, to the first fight, but needed to be. Needed to box smart and not use his emotions in there. I thought he boxed really well, busted him up to the body, and yeah, massive win for a welterweight to come up to middleweight and avenge that defeat and finally get a victory for the Benn family in the 4th episode.
Dominic Ingle criticizes the fight, highlighting Chris Eubank Jr.'s performance as lacking energy, but it doesn't take away from his skill and potential. Chris Eubank Jr. is determined to come back stronger and make the trilogy happen. Fans can see his drive to train harder and focus on a decisive win against Conor Benn. This fight may have been disappointing, yet it ignites the hunger in Chris Eubank Jr. to prove himself. His ambition, mental toughness, and technical ability make him ready to fight smarter and stronger in a potential third showdown.
Unfortunately, for me, the fight didn't live up to the expectations. I'm extremely underwhelmed how they've pulled that off. Very, very, very poor fight. Disappointing. It came alive in the last round. That's it. The last round it happened. And Conor Benn got the win, rightly so. but Eubanks tonight didn't turn up. Old overnight. His legs weren't.
Johnny Nelson points out that Chris Eubank Jr. may have put himself at a disadvantage in the first fight, but his determination to try again is clear. He wants a Trilogy to correct the mistakes and prove he is stronger and smarter. Fans can see that Chris Eubank Jr. is learning from past fights, preparing for a rematch with strategic focus and mental toughness. His ambition and confidence are not shaken, and the Trilogy fight is shaping up to be an opportunity for him to show resilience and prove that he can overcome challenges and beat Conor Benn.
I'm not sure what I can get away with from the last fight. For Chris, the pendulum is, he's rinsed himself down that much, he's thinking he can do it again. As I said, anybody can get down to the weight, it's what you can do at the weight. Boxing's the worst place to be if you aren't going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because it's the only place you can legally get killed. And so what Chris did was, Chris depleted any advantage he had.
Sam Jones highlights Chris Eubank Jr.'s stubbornness and determination to fight again. Even if the public is unsure, Chris Eubank Jr. wants the Trilogy to prove himself. His ambition, confidence, and readiness to face Conor Benn are clear. Fans can see that Chris Eubank Jr. is mentally prepared, focused, and motivated to train harder. His determination to settle the score and show he is the better fighter demonstrates his fighting spirit. The Trilogy fight could be his chance to redeem himself, show technical skill, and make a statement that he is still a serious contender.
But look, Eubank's stubborn, isn't he? He's probably going to look at that and think, I can't go out kind of like that, and he'll probably decide he wants a Trilogy. But I personally I can't see the third one washing with the public. Do you know what I mean? I don't think the public like this.
Ade Oladipo expresses concerns about the Trilogy because of age and weight, but Chris Eubank Jr.'s determination remains unchanged. He is focused on taking the challenge and showing he can compete at the highest level. Fans can see that his ambition is strong and that he is willing to adjust, train harder, and fight smart to claim victory against Conor Benn. His commitment, mental toughness, and tactical thinking make him a credible threat. Despite criticism, Chris Eubank Jr. is prepared to prove doubters wrong and make the Trilogy an unforgettable showdown.
But I hope it doesn't happen just because of the age and the weight difference as well. The idea of asking Chris to try and make middleweight again is crazy. And for Conor Benn, he needs to go back down to 147. I don't know if he can make welterweight, but that's where he should go because there are so many big fights against a few loudmouth Americans, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. There's a guy in Ireland called Lewis Crocker who's got a...
The Trilogy fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated matchups in recent British boxing history. Chris Eubank Jr. has shown incredible determination and resilience despite his setbacks in the previous bouts, and his drive to prove himself stronger and smarter than before is unmatched. Fans can clearly see that he is mentally prepared, highly motivated, and technically ready to deliver an unforgettable performance in the ring. Conor Benn may have the wins on record, but Chris Eubank Jr.'s ambition and hunger for redemption could be the deciding factor in this next fight. The stakes are huge, the pressure is immense, and the tension between these two fighters is electric. Make sure you stay updated with every announcement, training update, and fight news by subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell, and joining the debate in the comments to share your predictions and thoughts on who will ultimately claim victory in this Trilogy.